Welcome back to the Ricky Mathews Show. I really enjoyed that conversation. We can't have enough focus on the great things that are happening here in coastal Mississippi. And I'm honored to be here. I really enjoy doing this, and I really enjoy getting the feedback. The feedback has been terrific. Kyle and I really appreciate it. And we're going to continue to celebrate the people who are working so hard to make this such a special place to live, work, and play, as long as you continue to tune in and enjoy the conversations and learn from our guests. I mean, one of the things that Kyle and I share on a regular basis is the fact that we learn so much about what it takes to make a community like ours tick, and you just never know. I mean, you just never know what you're going to hear. I mean, people take the conversations in cool places and to cool places, and it's a great learning opportunity, which is why the focus on the One Coast Awards are so important. I was thrilled to have the opportunity back in 2002 to start these awards when I was publisher of the Sun Herald, and at the time we called them the Sun Herald Leadership Awards. And then after I left to go to work for Advanced Condé Nast back in 2009, at some point along the way they passed it over to the chambers. It became the One Coast Awards. But as I've said on this show many times before, what's beautiful about the awards is the opportunity not only to create recognition for people who deserve it, but it's a wonderful opportunity to hold these people up as examples for others, so that up-and-coming leaders, up-and-coming people who want to volunteer their time to the community can learn through others ways in which they might be able to contribute to the community. And so with that in mind, we're going to continue those conversations now with my new friend, Emily Sham, who is the sales and marketing manager for Two Men in a Truck here in coastal Mississippi. And we'll talk more about what she does. But before we go any further, let me say welcome to the Ricky Mathews Show, Emily.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's good to see you. So where are you sitting right now?
I'm in our office right here in Gulfport, right on Highway 49.
Two Men in a Truck. You hear this brand a lot these days, but it's been a very successful company, hasn't it?
Yes, we have been located on the Mississippi Gulf Coast for 10 years now. So we started May 2003. So we've been just trucking along.
It's pretty amazing though that people, I don't know who named Two Men in a Truck, but boy, did they nail the name, because it specifically says what it is, doesn't it?
So it's a funny story. It's a franchise. Two Men in a Truck is a franchise. We try to make it have that local feel though, because we're really involved in our community. We love giving back. But it is a national franchise. It started in Lansing, Michigan, 1985. We had a single mom. Her two sons were in college, and they will tell you we wanted to get money for booze and books. So they had a pickup truck and two brothers, and they started it. And so she sketched out our little truck that you see on all our trucks on a napkin, and then had the idea to open a moving company because there wasn't any around. And then after that, just franchised, and then kind of went from there. So
that's cool. So you're a sales and marketing manager. Tell me what you do, and then we're going to actually take a step back and talk about growing up in Madison and how you came to do what you're doing today. But what do you do in your job these days?
I pretty much do anything and everything and in between. So we have a very, very small office here. My husband's one of the owners, as well as another gentleman from Alabama. And then we have two CSRs who answer the phones and things like that. So I'm pretty much boots on the ground, going out, meeting people, getting involved in the community. I also answer phones if I need to and book moves. And so I pretty much do anything and everything that is in need of at the office. So
how's business?
Good. We actually, surprisingly, usually summer is our busy time, May, June, July. And we were kind of slower in May and June, but now for some reason, July and August has just taken off. So I feel like it's kind of moving. I think it might be with that summer schedule with Gulfport, school district moving to that year-round schedule is kind of making people wait to move a little bit till school's out and things like that. So, but we're doing great.
Okay, so you grew up in Madison. Tell me about that.
I loved growing up in Madison. Grew up in Madison. My parents still live there. Went to a small little private school, MRA, if anyone knows that little school. Loved it. And then I actually went off to Mississippi State. I was there for 4 years, and I majored in fashion merchandising, which a lot of people are like, what? And my dad owns a laundry business, and he was like, why are you going to like major in that? I'm spending all this money for you to major in fashion. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. So I was like, we're both going to be out of a job if, you're in laundry and me in fashion. So he was like, okay, if that's what you want to do. But I did get minors in marketing and business administration while I was at Mississippi State. So kind of got off into the event planning industry. Really loved that. Worked for a wonderful lady in Jackson, Wendy Putt, which is huge. If you have a wedding in Jackson, you're probably using her. So I did that for a little bit, and then got offered the opportunity to be the very first marketer at the 2 Men and a Truck in Ridgeland, Mississippi. So they needed someone to come in and help market, and the owner had known me through family friends in Madison. Madison's a small knit community. So I kind of jumped at the opportunity, thought it might be kind of cool to work for a moving company, and here I am 10 years later doing the same thing.
So when did you get to the coast?
We moved to the coast in 2018. We had a 1-year-old little girl. My husband said, I think I want to buy into the one on the coast. And I was like, the coast? We don't, and I've done speeches with Leadership Gulf Coast and things like that. The coast was just never a place growing up in Madison that you came to visit. You'd go through it to get to Gulf Shores or Destin, but you never actually stopped and came to the coast. So I really didn't know what to expect. I remember driving by our office on 49, and he was like, there's our office. That's where we're going to be. And I was like, we're leaving Madison to come to Gulfport? Like, I was devastated, to say the least. You grew up a little white picket fence. But we have been down here since 2018, and I would never go back to Madison. I love it. It's so, like, no one knows how great it is until you're down here. It's a secret coast. It really is. So once you're down here, you won't leave.
It's very special. So, hey, is part of the 2 Men and a Truck philosophy to be involved in the community, or is it just simply what you and the owners bring to the table?
It's one of our core values, is to give back to the community. The lady who started the company, Mary Ellen Sheets, with the 2 sons, her very first $10,000, she donated to 10 nonprofits, $1,000 each. So that's how the company was started, and it's up to each franchise to do what they want with that. But we really, really, that's something very important to us. We wouldn't be here without our community. So we want to give back as much as we can. If anyone needs, help moving things, that's, nonprofits, that's our big niche, because not a lot of people have the availability or, have the means to move beds for, different things or larger items. And we have the capability to do that, and we love giving back. So we'll do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So talk about your own involvement. Where did you start when you came to the coast? What's the first thing you got involved in?
Yeah, so when I moved to the coast, we were involved in Chambers back in Ridgeland, and I knew Chambers, it was the first place to go to get involved. So we joined the Mississippi Gulf Coast Chamber, and I believe we had been members before I actually came on board, but no one was actually going to anything or meeting people. So I jumped right in. I became a chamber champ my first year. Through the Mississippi Gulf Coast Chamber, just started meeting people, getting out there. I was super involved. I was probably at every single ribbon cutting that they had. So I was just out there, boots on the ground. And then I became a part of the Gulfport Chamber board. So I applied for that, and then I've been serving on that board for now 3 years. So that was my first, join the chamber, get involved, and then they'll start giving you outlets, to join other things. So then I started getting involved in other things.
So what's interesting is, and I had the opportunity, I had a wonderful mentor at the Sun Herald, Roland Weeks, who was the publisher of the Sun Herald before I became publisher. And, he spent a lot of time helping me understand that as a publisher, that you have a lot of responsibilities. First Amendment obligation, which is just sort of the media news side of what we do, but then community leader, and then you have the fiduciary responsibilities to run a business. And he used to always point out that the more involved you are in the community, more in touch you are with how the business is responding to the needs of the community. When you can do those actively together, it's going to make you a better publisher. Well, the same thing is true with owning a company like Two Men on the Track. The more connected you are to the community, the more involved you are in the community, the more opportunities you have to create networks. And in fact, what we'll do when we get on the other side, because that's really the key. It's helped you as a leader, and it's helped your business too simultaneously. We'll talk more with Emily Sham about that when we come back on the other side. She's the sales and marketing manager for Two Men in a Truck here on the Gulf Coast, and also a recent One Coast Award winner. We'll talk more about that when we get on the other side. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to the Ricky Mathews Show, and I love chatting during the breaks with my guests. And Emily Sham, who is the sales and marketing manager for Two Men in a Truck here in coastal Mississippi, and a recent One Coast Award winner. I mentioned to her that I saw her at the event, and could tell that she was extremely, great. She was happy to represent Two Men in the Truck there. She did a great job of just representing herself there. She's the kind of person you want to hold up as an example. But what we were chatting about during the break is that it amazes us actually that not every business gets the connection between their involvement in the chamber, their involvement in the community, and this thing that Roland Weeks preached to me, that the more involved you are, the more in touch you're going to be with the needs of a community, and they'll help you in your business. I mean, it goes hand in glove. It's clear that Emily gets that, because her involvement, while it started with the chamber, it went beyond that. But it has really been important to your business to be aware on how, not only how you can help the community, but how the community can help you. It works. Right. It works together, doesn't it? Right.
That's so true. We're very appreciative of our community, and we do not take that for granted one bit. So, and you can just see how big it's growing. And I mean, there's construction everywhere around here. People are coming to the coast.
So your involvement from the chamber evolved. What else did it evolve into?
Well, one of the big things at Two Men in a Truck, our big spring program, which was mentioned at the One Coast Award, it's something I'm very passionate about. We hold every spring as our Movers for Moms campaign. So I was able to have connections through the chamber and figure out who was in need. But Movers for Moms is a program that we do every spring that gives back to mothers in need right around Mother's Day. So it's usually women living in shelters, just to make them feel a little bit better around Mother's Day. So we have partnered with the Gulf Coast Center for Nonviolence for the past 5 years since I've been down here. And last year was our biggest collection yet. We had over 30,000 items we collected: shampoos, conditioners, lotions. We have donations across. We ran from Gaucher all the way to Bay St. Louis last year, or this year, excuse me. So we had 55 drop-off locations with our boxes, and people just came together. It gives me goosebumps talking about it, because it was incredible to see how many items that we were able to collect. And then that Friday, right before Mother's Day, we take it all to the shelter, and they are just so appreciative. So we only hope to grow it. When I first started, I think I might have had 20 locations. So you can see how much it's grown, and people messaging me, hey, we want a box. How do we get involved? So that's always special to see. But I made all those connections through the chamber, starting there, and, starting small. And then it just kind of, everyone wants to get involved and help and give back on the coast, I feel like.
I love the story, and incidentally, Stacy Riley and her team at the center do such great work. I can't have them on enough. In fact, I need to circle back with Stacy and find out the latest there. But the work they do, I mean, you're talking about filling an important gap in our community. My goodness, their work is so important. Can you imagine life without them?
Yeah, they are amazing. They have a volunteer lunch every year that has all the volunteers come in, and just to go to that and hear what they're doing and how many women they serve, and men. It's incredible to see what they're doing, and they're growing. We actually moved them to their new location to have like a centralized location where people can come and actually get the help they need. So we were grateful for them using us for their move for that. So yeah, they're wonderful on the coast.
A man or woman, and you pointed this out, that men face this problem as well, but that are involved in an abusive relationship. They've got a number they can call where you can trust the person on the other end of the phone, and they are trained to help you figure it out, whatever it might be. And they are experts at it, and they protect confidentiality. They help families. Man, if you do the number of women and men that they've helped over the many, many years, and kids for that matter, over the many, many years, it's inspiring. You can't learn about their story, incidentally, Emily, without getting caught up in it to say,
Right.
How can I do? And so when you talk about raising, volunteer, items contributed to this effort, and being able to bring that associated with Mother's Day. I mean, that's what giving back's all about, isn't it?
Right. And I'm a mom too, so I have 2 little ones myself. So just makes you feel good. Not all moms can, have a great Mother's Day. So to help ease that just a little bit and make them feel loved, and, that always helps us. So we love giving back. I love giving back to things that are close to me. I serve on the Boys and Girls Club board as well, with the club kids, which is another passion of mine. So I love giving back and helping those babies and kids, and just, it's close to my heart.
Well, I can tell you just keep slipping in these additional volunteer things that you're doing. And that's the beautiful thing about someone like you, a person with a servant's heart. If you were given a speech to a group of young people who were either starting their own business or maybe working for another company and trying to make the point that you need to be involved in the community, what would you say to them?
I would just say, try to be yourself and be pure. I feel like a lot of times people come across and they're like, oh, this is my business and this is what we do, and they don't really get to know the person. That's my first thing. I don't really talk about 2 Men in a Truck, and people probably think that's a little funny, but I want them to get to know Emily and know me, and not necessarily think 2 Men in a Truck, but I think Emily, I think she works at a moving company, and then go from there. So I always just stay humble, honest, pure, and just be true to yourself. And, when you talk to people and meet people, that's what my parents have always preached to me, just be you.
Yeah.
Be good,
Hey, listen, what's important, though, is when you're out and about and you're doing work in the community, when you meet the Stacy Rileys of the world and people who are volunteering through that, or the Boys and Girls Club, or the Coast Chamber in so many different ways, or the Gulfport Chamber, the subsidiary of the Coast Chamber, when you come in contact with people doing any of those efforts, you learn from the servant hearts of others, don't you?
Yep. I mean, that's so true. And as soon as I meet those people, and usually it's at an event where they're talking about like the needs that they, are facing, and they don't have, certain things through this, I'm the first one to go up to them and say, here's my business card. Like, if you ever need anything, we are happy to help. Because a lot of people don't know that too, they don't know that we do charity moves. They don't know that, and now it's kind of gotten, people know. So it's like Martini Shakedown. They know every year they can call us, and we're going to move all of their, silent auction items to the Bow Forum for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Like, we're going to do it every single year. And so that, I feel like people, once they figure out we can help them, they're like, okay, I'll ask them, because we're going to do it.
Well, I think, Emily, that's such a great commitment to the community. And what's beautiful about it is you give without expecting anything in return, but the relationships that you garner doing those things, that's the byproduct of, and the benefit to your business is the byproduct of giving back to the community. It all kind of goes, together. I really congratulate you on winning a One Coast Award. When you found out that you were in fact going to get the recognition, what was your immediate reaction?
I can remember I was sitting on my sofa watching a show. I think I had my little boy next to me, and Adele Lyons, CEO of the Mississippi Gulf Coast Chamber, called me, and I'm not going to lie, this was like my third year to apply.
Yeah.
So didn't win it the first couple years, and which I did not think anything of it, because I was like, there are so many more deserving people. But she called me and she told me, and I didn't realize that was even the process. And I started crying. And my husband thought something was wrong. He was like, what's wrong? I was like, I won Coast Award. Like, that means so much to me, that these people who, the people who chose these 10 group of, individuals to win, I didn't feel deserving, but I also knew, like, I'm so humble to receive this award. And I knew it meant so much to me. That's probably the one award that I've gotten in my 10 year of business, being, in the big girl world, that I've won. And it's meant the most to me, for sure.
Well, listen, as president and publisher of the Sun Herald for 7 years, I had the opportunity to make those calls. I loved making those 20 phone calls. And everyone was deserving. You said you didn't feel deserving, but that's part of sort of the humility of doing what you do, being involved in the community. When you get to see so many dedicated people out there in the community. Some of them recognized, some of them not. A lot of folks behind the scenes that you never would know who they were if you weren't for these awards, that sort of kind of smoke them out a bit and give us this opportunity. Like I said so many times before, and I'm sure Adele maybe says to you, hold them up as an example, so they can inspire others to want to go find their gap in the community to fill, just like you have through 2 Men in the Truck and your own personal commitment to the community. But it's been a pleasure to visit with you, and congratulations. I look forward to chatting with you again. Keep up the great work in the community.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. This has been Emily Sham from 2 Men in a Truck and a recent One Coast Award winner. It's been a pleasure. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.